Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. Please subscribe if you haven't yet already. It's a red button probably down below where I am on your screen somewhere, and if you hit that and subscribe, that would make me very happy. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That would also make me very happy. Today's video is a get ready with me and a first impressions video of the new Bésame Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs palette. It had a limited release, early release about a week ago, and then I think now it's going on sale in November. I'll put information in the description box down below. But this is just stunning. It is all matte. The colors in the palette correspond with colors that they used in the cells when they were designing the cells for and creating the cells for the film. And there's a little chart that tells you what each of the colors in the palette kind of corresponds with, like what was the color that they used for her eyelids and the color that they used for her hair or her hair ribbon. And I really like it. So if you'd like to see how I got this look and see me start to dive in to the Bésame Snow White palette, please keep watching. All right, here's the outside box, and then the palette inside, which is like a book. And you open it up, and there's a mirror on the left, and then like a film cell, and then a picture of her, and then all of the colors are listed on the left, and then there's a ribbon that you can mark your space in the book, and then there are all the colors. First is Pastel 10, Saddle 104, Red 14, Holly 104, Pastel 101, Gray 106, Saddle 106, Java 103, Royal 111, Pastel 6, Pastel 105, Salmon 103, Beige 106, Gray 111, Brick 105, Rose 300, Aqua 108, Cocoa 103, Taupe 102, and Mist 104. Alright, I'm so excited. So I've moisturized and I've used NARS Pro Prime Smudge Proof Eye Primer. And I'm going to go in with Pastel 10 over my whole eye just to neutralize things. This is really pretty. I probably could have done foundation first, but I did want to just do my whole face with you guys. This is so creamy and buttery and not very much fallout for it being as matte as it is. And they've never done eyeshadow before. I don't think. I think the only eye products that they've done, I'm surprised they don't do a liner. They do the cake mascara, and now they do the actual mascara in a tube. So smooth. I'll bring you in closer while I'm working on my eyes, and then I'll zoom you out when I'm on my face. I'm going to go in with Salmon 103, which doesn't look like salmon to me, but I'm going in on a Sephora Pro Tapered Crease Brush, kind of big. I'll get into smaller brushes in a moment. So all of the colors here correspond with the colors that the artists used when they were working on the cells for the film. So the first color that I used, Pastel 10, is Flesh, and then Salmon 103 is Legs, because she wore tights. I read about that. I was reading about it recently. Now I'll go in with same brush, and I'll go in with Beige 106, which was used for the soles of her shoes. So I read about this recently as I was reviewing it for this, and just for the sake of understanding more about it. I did teach this. I used to teach film in an older adult center, and we did classic film. Now I'm going to go in with Brick 105, Sigma F63, so a little more tapered than that. And yeah, I used to teach a film class a long time ago at a senior center. And all the films that we did, I think the most recent film, I did show them Good Night and Good Luck, the Edward R. Murrow movie. Now I'm going to go back in with the same color with Brick, but I'm going to go in with a blending brush from Elizabeth Mott, a little bit denser and shorter. So yes, so I taught a film class. And all the films that we watched, the oldest film that I showed them, I did show them Birth of a Nation, which was 1915, and then the oldest one that I showed, the most recent one I showed them, was Good Night and Good Luck. But most of the movies that we watched were from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, some 60s. Not that many from the 70s. Now I'm going to go back in with the Sephora brush that I started with and just blend this out a little more. This is so pretty. And the only animated film that I ever showed them, I taught it for like 4 years. And the only animated film that I ever showed in that class was Snow White. And that was, I don't know, 6 years ago. So I'm going to go in with a Smith 253 brush, and I'm going to go in with Pastel 105. It's the white. And that was her skirt underside. And I'm not going to use any Fix Plus, just going right in. But yes, back to hers. Wow, that was a big, holy mackerel. That is pigmented and so smooth. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. I think at some point I might go in and use Fix Plus just to amp up the color even more, but I don't even know. That is so pretty. And I'm pale, so it's showing up pretty white, but if you're darker, this would be such a pretty highlight, a non-shimmery highlight, like a brow bone highlight, or really anywhere. It's just such a pretty color. And it's so smooth. It's not skipping. It's not holding on to patches. Mattes are kind of unforgiving especially on lids sometimes. And it's so pretty for not having anything. I'm just so used to using, I'm fine going an extra bit of distance to make something work the way that I want it to work, but it's a nice, and like no fallout really at all. It's a nice surprise when things actually end up looking good without making as much effort. I'm gonna go back in with the Sephora crease brush just to clean this up a little more because I brought some of the white up higher than I meant to. I'm gonna go in with this little, it's a Ben Nye detailer brush just to get it more on the inner corner of my eye, again with the rambling. So I read recently when I was reading about trivia for the movie, one of the things that I read, which goes back to the color of her flesh, tiny bit of fallout, but that's really all that I've had so far. Color of her flesh in this palette is different from the color of her legs in this palette, and in the film she's wearing tights. So I think we can assume now that she's wearing browner tights in the movie, which makes it darker. I'm gonna go in on my outer corner with that same Ben Nye brush. I'm just gonna rub it off on a towel. I'm not gonna bother using a color switch. I'm gonna go in with, that's interesting, I'm looking at the list here. There is no gray 106, there's a gray 104. I bet that's what they mean. Ooh, that's pretty too. Such a pretty color. So yeah, so she didn't wear tights in the Grimm's Fairy Tale, but she did in the movie because of modesty and all of those things from back then. Okay, I think I'm done with the palette for now. I'm definitely gonna do more with this. I'm going to apply some Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer because I'm using a new foundation. I'm using one of the Bésame foundations. I'm out of my Hourglass, and I thought, I usually use the Hourglass Vanish foundation, and I thought I would use the Bésame one. I got that a little while ago and I was holding on to it until I was done with my Hourglass. Now that I'm done with my Hourglass, I'm gonna use my Bésame today for the first time. So I will zoom you through my liner. I am gonna do a traditional kind of wing, even though that wasn't what she would have been wearing back then, but because that's just what I like to do. I understand she wouldn't have been wearing it. And I will zoom you through this. Okay, I'll zoom you out a little bit. So this is my new 808 Natural Beige Bésame Stick Foundation. Very creamy. Feels thicker than the Hourglass. And I'm going to use the Hourglass brush with it. And this is formulated after, Bésame is so interesting how they try to find colors and fragrances. The fragrances are really interesting too. I don't know if you've smelled their fragrances. They had a set last holiday season that was like a little thing of all of their fragrances. Really pretty. Some of them are stronger than I would normally use, but just evokes so much, scent evokes so much memory for people, for me, for anybody really, I suppose. Yeah, and what they do with color is amazing too, how they're able to really capture something that kind of quintessentially speaks for an era. This might be a little light, but that's okay. I am a pretty pale person. Maybe my under eyes are just very dark. Tarte Shape Tape in light. And I didn't go up as much as I would if I didn't have bangs, which I will be taking down when I'm done applying my makeup. I really enjoy looking at historically accurate kind of makeup and products. Lisa Eldridge has a couple of videos. If I can find them, actually, I will link them down below, of historical makeup products. She has a book too. A book that I can't think of the name of, but I will insert it in here about the history of makeup. And yeah, some of those old products, the packaging of them. So one of the things that Charlotte Tilbury does, I think, is evokes the packaging of a bygone era. I'm going to set my under eye with my Bésame Translucent Vanilla Brightening Powder, just a little bit. And it does smell like vanilla. There's a violet, which I'll use on my face, and I think a rose is the third one. This was a neat set that came out a little while ago that was the trio, the small of the three. I'm not going to contour. This is not historically accurate makeup situation by any stretch, but I'm just not going to contour. I'm feeling a lot softer today. Going in with my Bésame blush in Sweet Pink with a ColourPop stippling brush. Yeah, not historically accurate, but still just feels like I don't need it right now. And no highlight either. This is really pretty. I am really, really enjoying this. It's subtle, but the colors are just so pretty. Brows. I don't know what they would have used. I would assume that they would be using pomade. I need to start researching that more, like what people actually would have been using. There's a good book. I used that, another book about historically accurate makeup. Laura, I'll put it on the screen. I did a Louise Brooks, kind of trying to get ready like her. I might do another one of those. I think I've done a better job with hiding my eyebrows, so I might do another one of those. But that's a good book. And actually, because I am going to do more of these, what I might do is try to incorporate more techniques that would have been used in the 30s. Not to always make it historically accurate, but just to, you know, it's interesting to learn about different eras and why people did things the way they did. Certainly in the 30s too. You have, certainly in the early 30s at least, you have the real advent of ubiquitous talking pictures. You, in the early 30s, have the last years of the film production code not being in existence. So you had a lot of interesting films that were being made. You had the Depression, so a lot of people didn't have income at all, or extra to spend. So people had to get creative. People did see a lot of movies, and I think there were a lot of things that were inspired by movies. You also have women getting more liberated, and it's after the 19th Amendment certainly, but just thinking about changes that were happening for women in the 30s and what that was like. So I will do some research on what other techniques people were using, what other formulas people were using, and I'll incorporate that in some other videos where I'm using this palette. And definitely there will be more videos where I'm using this palette. This is just such an amazing palette. Just gonna go in with a little eyeliner to cover up a little bit that came off when I curled my lashes. I'm going to set my face with the translucent violet brightening powder with a puff, the puff that came with it. Pressing and kind of rolling. The foundation is stunning. There are some places around here, which I'm not surprised about, that my pores are pretty obvious. But I'm looking at the other parts of my face, and it's not for as thick as it was when I applied it. It's still fairly full coverage, but I can see my freckles through it, which I like. And for lips, I'm gonna go in with Bésame Red, classic. And I'm not gonna line, which is really unusual for me. They do have a couple of liners, but they're like mauvey, nudie. Oh, I am gonna line. Kind of wanted to just leave it with that product, but I don't know if I know how to put on red lipstick without liner before. It's like I can't color unless I have lines to color in. I'll speed you through this. This was the Kat Von D Everlasting Lip Pencil and Outlaw and Bésame Red. All right, I'm going to take my hair down and I'll give you some final thoughts. All right, I'm back and I love this palette. It is so easy to work with. The colors are so true to what they look like in the pan. They're not patchy, they're not skippy, they don't really have much fallout at all. I only got a little bit of fallout on the white, but really nothing at all. And they're just so pretty. And the foundation is really nice. I do have some visible pores. I'll use this because I want to use the foundation. I will maybe next time put some pore filling primer where I experience or where I perceive that I have a pore issue and see if that makes a difference. But everywhere else in my face, it just looks so smooth and not full coverage. It's kind of medium coverage, which is surprising for as thick as it went on when I first applied it. So yes, you'll definitely be seeing more of the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs palette on my channel soon. And thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate that you took the time to spend with me today. There's a lot to do in the world and a lot to do on YouTube, and I really appreciate that you took some time to spend with me. Take care, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.